Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. I genuinely appreciate it. Tonight was an interesting experience. Sorry, I didn't mean to put my face in the camera. I had pulled this card and I was gonna read it, and I was told don't. This is for this is an Ascended Master card, and I was told don't read it. Call on one of the Ascended Masters. He really wants to talk through it. So I was like, okay. So I don't know if all of you are familiar with Count Saint Germain or Saint Germain. I've had him come through like once or twice before, just during meditation, or I've had him come through and I've just like been like, hi. That's kind of it. And he was the one who really wanted to talk about this card. And of course, I pre-film the channeled messages first. This was a really unique channeled message. He talks about our perceptions of reality, and how we view everything. He likens us to, I think he's really funny. He's not insulting. He lived here on Earth, and he was known to be extremely wise and never age. And speak I think 20 something languages fluently. And he had to move around a lot because he had to hide the fact that he wasn't aging. But he likens us to microorganisms to give an example of our lack of perception of reality, and how once our souls wake up, then we'll be able to understand how to perceive reality the right way. And that many of us are going through spiritual transformations, or in the middle of them, or some of us have just completed one phase of it or some of it. And so all of us are going to understand what he's talking about at different levels. Some of us are going to completely understand it. Some of us are going to have no idea what he's talking about. Some of us are going to understand him a little bit. Some of us are going to understand him somewhat. And I allowed him, I said, sure, you can use me as an example for some of the things I do. Boy, did he take free reign of that. So he uses me as some examples in there. So he's like, and she allowed me to use, he's like, and she allows me to use her as an example. She gave consent. I'm like, I did. I didn't think you were going to use those or disclose one of my past lives that I did know about, because I have been able to see some of my past lives. I wasn't expecting that, so it kind of caught me off guard. But it's so when I channel, I can feel if it's a male or female energy, I can feel so much love, and I can feel so much so much wisdom. It's overwhelming knowledge, but it's an out-of-body experience, if that makes sense. It's I'm there, but I'm not there. I'm in the back. I'm really faded in the background, and yeah, I was really faded in the background, and I could just hear, and that was it. I could hear him, and I'm like, wow, this is really enlightening. This is great stuff. So I can't wait to watch it, because I haven't watched it yet. I'm just filming the intro for all of you, and I'll put a timestamp in from the intro to the channel message. But he said he'll come back as many times as you guys want with questions. So he gave an example to how to open your heart the right way. And for those of you who are empaths, or want to become empaths, or how to feel like an empath, like what to do. But it gave a lot of like warning against not just jumping into that. And of course, again, he used me as an example. Loved it. um, but I mean, I did give him the consent to do that because I feel like sometimes it helps if there's like a concrete example that can be applied. He knows which examples would be off limits. But it's really is a unique experience sitting there, and it's like I'm watching a show. It's like I'm watching somebody else, even though I'm feeling all of this love and knowledge. It's like I'm watching it. It's totally like I'm outside my body, and it's unique. It's very unique. So for any of those of you who channel like that, feel free to email me because it's really unique. And some of you sent me some really nice, beautiful messages I'm really grateful for. That's the reason why I was willing to try it again, because he's been really adamant about wanting to come through, and so has someone else. So I'm willing to try it with someone else who really wants to come through as well, because obviously they have messages for all of you, and I don't want to stand in anyone's way of not hearing what Source or the Ascended Masters want to share with you. So like Shimi wants to keep coming through, who's also an Ascended Master, and she's from the Hindu faith. She's been wanting to come through since last week, and I keep saying no because I've been, like I had shared with all of you, I've been nervous. But I'm gonna let her come through next. But Saint Germain was adamant. Ask all the questions you want, and he will answer absolutely everything. I could really feel him. He's very strong, very powerful, very, very smart, very wise. So I feel like if you guys want to know anything, if you want, you can email me privately, or you can post it in the comments. It's whatever you prefer. But I felt like he could give like a 30-minute or like 3-hour sermon on anything. Like I could even had to pause the clock and like restart it because he was talking so long. Like he would not stop. Like he's just gets going, and that's that. So he's got a lot to say, and I feel like he has a lot more he wants to say, but it felt like he wanted to be able to answer things people wanted to know about rather than just show up and talk. So I feel like this channel is for all of you. It's not for me. So if there's questions you want to know, ask, and he'll answer whatever you want to know. I don't feel like it's my responsibility to ask them. I feel like they should come from all of you, and I will ask them. I promise you, I'll ask whatever you want. Unless it's something I feel truly uncomfortable with, I'll let you know. But I will ask everything for you, and we'll see what we get. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope it helps. It was interesting too. He would jump from I to we, and he was talking. It was interesting how he spoke. He spoke a little differently than some of the others. So he's a unique character. When I read about him afterwards, I guess he was a little quirky, and people liked him because he was quite unique in his own personality. So he even talked about he would teach us how like anti-age and not have to like women wouldn't have to do all this like Botox or like beauty things. Like it's just a cellular thing we have to understand. I was like, that would be a nice one to know. So just thank you for being here with me on this journey, because I feel like we really are all growing together, and it's a nice experience. So I'll talk to you soon. Bye. There is a question all of you are posing. It is, when it feels right, do it. This is the card that she pulled. It called upon me. I often work with her, and but she doesn't even know it. Today she asked for me by name, so I came. I came to help all of you so you would understand. This is important. Yes, I am one of the Ascended Masters, one all of you have known. I am known as the one who does not age, the one who knows all the languages, the one who is wise and all-knowing. What you must realize is, you already know the answers within. This is like a looking glass. All you have to do is look in the mirror, and you can see. Everyone can see. You can see beyond yourself. You can see into yourself. You can see into your soul. You can see your soul contract. You can see beyond the realms. You can see your own answers. It's if you choose to want to see that matters. Do you want to see the answers to the questions that you have? That is what I am asking. Many of you do not really want to know the answers that you seek. You should only ask when you really want to know. The answers are never bad. They are difficult to understand, and many of you are not at the level to understand. There is only one conscious mind, and you have to be able to split from it to understand. So, if you cannot understand the basic concept that the reality you live in is not your reality, it's a perception of your reality, then you will not be able to understand this simple principle of, when it feels right, do it. You will not understand even the question. I only say this because this is a very complex question. And if your mind cannot grasp the concept that the world you live in is only a perception of your reality and not the full reality of all that exists and all being, but a tiny glimpse, then you cannot understand this question, nor can you understand the answer to the question. Another way to phrase it is, if you understand that the world you live in is only but a cell looking through a microscope. You see, pretend you are a scientist and you have taken a swab of someone's DNA, and as you're looking through that, that is what your world is. It's a microorganism looking through the cell of a microscope. That is what you're looking at. That is now your perception of what that world is, the microorganisms of the cells you are now looking at. That is that world that those microorganisms live in. That is very simple to understand. That is the world that you live in. But to you, it is much bigger. To microorganisms, they live in a very large world themselves. Yet it is the same thing. It's a perception of one's reality. If you cannot understand that your reality is beyond your comprehension, and to shift things, shift time, walk between time, manifest correctly, understand a basic concept of the question on this card, which is, when it feels right, do it. Sounds like some kind of slogan. Then you cannot understand this really comprehensive, complex question. I say this because I do not believe the majority of you understand that you are basic organisms living in a complex universe. You are the DNA swab looking through a microscope. I say this with all unconditional love because we, as a universal conscious mind, love you unconditionally and want you to be happy and successful. But you are basic organisms living, and we look at you through a microscope, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no right or wrong. But if you can't grasp that simple concept, then you cannot ask more complex questions. Another way to perceive it is a simple dollhouse. It's like living in a dollhouse and someone's playing with the dolls. Yet you have your own mind and your own free will to make decisions as organisms move around doing things. They too are able to do things on their own. We do not manipulate organisms as we do not manipulate you. So you have your own free will within this dollhouse to do things, yet this dollhouse is a tiny little thing within a larger bedroom, if you will, of a little girl who is playing with this dollhouse, which is then in a larger house that the little girl lives in, which is then in a neighborhood, which is then in a country, which is then on a continent, which is then on your planet. So you see, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So you can take the example of being a doll inside a dollhouse, but you yet have free will to move around as the doll in the dollhouse. Or the simple example of an organism moving around on a slide being examined by a scientist. Either one. If you cannot understand that the world you live in is just a perception of how you perceive it and how you interact with it, and can be manipulated at any time by your own perception, by your own understanding, by your own free will, then it's too difficult to understand more complex questions. And it's too difficult to understand how to change things. You cannot look into the looking glass. You cannot look into the mirror. You cannot look into your soul and see the layers of it, see the previous experiences, understand. You cannot see the previous lives you've had, see the lives to come, see the lives others have had. Know when someone is going to have a life before a life has even formed. All these things are possible. They're all within your soul. You are all capable of doing this. But few have that ability because few can actually perceive beyond the basic complex of the simple reality that this reality is not this reality. It is just a perception. It's a projection, if you will. The way a movie projects onto a white screen, that's what it's doing. Your life is a projection. You are having a human life. You are having a human experience. You are here learning things to bring this knowledge back to all of us, because all the knowledge is highly valuable. That's the whole point. That's how we learn and grow. So you've come as a soul to gain the knowledge and insight. You volunteered for this. You knew the obstacles that you would face. You knew the hurdles you would face, and you willingly took on the challenge. That is something that is highly admirable. for all of you, and something we all applaud. So we all love you. You're part of all of us. We all love you unconditionally. We're always cheering for you. We're always here to help you and support you. The problem is, few of you have figured out how to see beyond, hear beyond, feel beyond, connect beyond. You're so stuck in this mundane little world of being a microorganism or a projection or stuck in a dollhouse that you can't quite ask the more complex questions that we would like to answer for you to be able to help you grow, which we would really like to be able to do. But I can tell right now, looking into all of you, that you really do not understand. I only see 4 of you who could understand what I am talking about. And those 4, I am glad to answer any question you have, anytime. But I feel if I talk, the rest of you are lost. And I don't want to lose everybody just talking, because I feel you'll be so confused that it almost seems unfair. So I have to break things down into very simple steps for all of you. Let's take the microorganism concept. You are all microorganisms, or I can even say I am, because she's kind enough to let me talk through her, and she too is a microorganism, yet she understands the perception of reality. So, we are all microorganisms living here on Earth. This is all a projection of our reality, yet we can alter our reality if we want to. So how do we do that? We have to be able to open our minds and see that there's more out there than this typical life. When we say that, when I say we, I mean we as ascended masters, as higher beings. We need to understand that there's a better way to connect, a better way to see. So how do you do that on Earth is the real question. You cannot make a giant leap without taking one step at a time. So the first step is understanding that you are a microorganism. This is a projection of your reality. If you can understand that, you can then move to the next step. I am simplifying all of this to try to make it as easy as possible to understand. So if you can understand that, then you can begin to understand that everything is connected. If you understand that everything is connected, you'll understand that every soul on Earth is connected to each other. So each microorganism is connected. And you're also all connected to us, because you all come from the same place. We all come from Source. So if you understand that, then you know you also have part of yourself up there too, who's trying to help you, if you listen. Ascended Masters just means we have greater insight. We have lived longer. We've lived many lives. We finally understand more. So we enjoy guiding you and helping you with your experience. We're not God. We are not creation. We are one conscious mind. But we enjoy working together to help you succeed. But you are part of us too. That's why we love you. We all seek knowledge because that's how we connect to creation. And that's how we grow. And that's why you came here, to grow and seek knowledge. But you have to understand Right now, you're a microorganism until you realize you're not, and you can change your reality. That helps you wake up. Once you wake up, you can grow more, and then we can help work with you more. Some of you are just starting to wake up. You're going through what you call on earth a transformation, a spiritual awakening. If you're going through that, you have lots of questions. That is a whole nother discussion. But that is what happens. Something has to wake you up inside. Something has to remind your soul. It does not matter what wakes up your soul and reminds it, as long as your soul is woken up. That's all that matters. As long as it wakes up and remembers, and you don't live your whole life as a microorganism. Now that you're awake or going through that transformation, you must go through that experience first, and then you will start to learn. You can actually change things. Experience the world the way you want. You can manipulate things. You have the power of alchemy. You can actually feel energy, and we can help you with that. We can teach you that. Some people call it the law of attraction. Some people call it meditation. Some people call it alchemy. Some people call it energy. Everyone calls it something different. I don't really care what you call it. We just want to help you be successful and happy in this lifetime. It's how you apply the knowledge that matters. And that's what makes you successful. You can have abundance in all aspects of your life if you understand how to apply the basic principles of everything to your life. Those are the things that matter. And you have to first have the right vibrational frequency. Frequency is what matters. When you're on Earth, it's very dense. It's very low. So you have to be able to move your frequency up high enough that you can reach all of us. Reach your guides, reach your angels, reach your ancestors, reach us as ascended masters. Otherwise, you are stuck in a very dark, dense world where the energy is so low. All you can be is a microorganism, it feels like. You don't want to age. You don't have to age. That can be manipulated too. It's just at the cellular level. It's really not that hard. It's not complex. It's very simple. People make it out to be so much more complex. They are manipulating their bodies. They're injecting things everywhere. When you have to do the simplest things. Again, a perception of your reality is skewed. You have to be able to look into the mirror. Look into the looking glass. Become Alice in Wonderland. If you can do that and be curious and explore and be fearless and feel love, then you can begin to understand. You must live in love, open to love, loving yourself first and foremost, or you will never be successful with anything. Just because people have a lot of money does not define them. Because people have a big title does not make them worthy. Because people have the biggest house does not make them worthy of anything. What makes people worthy is how they treat others. The microorganism that you let feed off your skin because they live on your body, as you know, is only sustained because you have dead skulls and the microorganism needs to eat off of it. So you sustain life for that. if you can help others sustain life through things that you do, that is a beautiful thing. You must be able to figure out how to help others sustain life through selfless acts. That is a vital part of being a loving soul being on earth. That is what this card is telling you. When it feels right, do it. The Looking Glass. This does not mean give all your money away and go live in poverty. Some of you may be called to do that, then do it. Some of you are not called to do that, don't do it. Do what feels right when you're in the right frequency. If you're not there, do not make those decisions. For what matters is that you do everything from a selfless place, from a loving place that you know helps sustain other human beings on this planet. That's what matters. Not out of a place to try to receive something for yourself. Then you are just as good as a prana that pries things off of others. You do not want to be like that. You then are not doing good. The whole point is to be selfless and live in love. If you can do that, that's when you can help change your reality more, and you can shift it again. You can shift your reality any way you want, but it's only from a selfless place, only from a loving place, only from a high frequency place. If you do it always to try to gain something for yourself, then you will never gain anything. The point is to disseminate knowledge freely to help others, humanity, the planet, animals, Mother Nature, the ocean, sea life, those who are sick, those who are weak. But if you always do it with that secret ulterior motive to gain something for yourself, you will always remain a microorganism. If you do it truly selflessly, from a loving, high-frequency place, you will gain abundance and prosperity in every aspect of your life. You will see the world differently. You will understand. You can shape-shift things. You will walk through timelines. You will see people. You will see their souls. You will talk to animals. You will talk to plants. You will be able to see the future. You will be able to read the future for anyone. You will heal the sick. You will be able to literally have money flow to you from nothing. You will have knowledge beyond ancient times and speak of things no one can understand. You will be able to achieve anything you want because your soul is acting out of the best interest of the world, humanity, and everything in its place. That is the point. You will actually become a true alchemist. You will be able to manipulate energy and heal. You'll be able to manipulate energy and literally create things. People will never understand how you do it. And all you have to do is tell them. Love at a high frequency and give selflessly. Because that's all it is. That is how you can achieve everything and change your reality and see everything for what it really is, not the self-projection that you are currently viewing. Like I said, some have already started it. Some can already see it this way. Few can actually. If you want, I can explain it one step at a time, starting with the most basic concepts of how do you begin to shift your reality, and how do you begin with the most simplistic way, and that is empathy. Empathy is the most important thing you have to start with to raise your frequency and to be able to feel empathy towards others and loving others. This is something everyone should be able to do. When you have empathy, you can actually begin to feel what others are feeling. So let's say I'm the microorganism again, but I've decided to open myself up. When I say open myself up, I mean open my heart, really open my heart. I ask for guidance and help to open my heart. I walk in nature. I meditate. I focus on the color green, the color pink, colors that help open the heart. I might wear a bracelet that helps open my heart, or I just actually envision my heart as a lotus flower, slowly opening as I meditate, one petal at a time, opening. When I take my breath in, deep in and out, opening into this huge, giant lotus flower that is my heart. That is how I open up my heart. Once my heart is open, I can now feel. And once I can feel differently than I felt before. This is where I ask for the help from my source, from guides, from my angels, from ascended masters. They will help me. But I always use the lotus flower as the guide to help open my heart. That's what I would recommend to all of you as your first step, if this is something you want to do. This is what you should do. Yes, the rest agree with me as well. You have a beautiful white lotus flower. You can envision it pink. You can envision it blue. You can envision it green. I think you should envision whatever color works for you. I know you're going to ask me what color should it be. I'm hearing some of the other ascended masters say, because we all talk usually collectively as one, but this person asked me to come in specifically and talk. If you have ancient Egyptian ties or Egyptian ties, you should pick white or blue, because that ties you more to Egypt if you really want to be connected to Egypt. If you do not care about being tied to Egypt, then the color of the flower does not matter. The one I am speaking for, she always uses a white lotus. White represents the divine, and she had a past life in ancient Egypt as well. Maybe that's why she also picks white, but she always picks a white flower when she does anything. She has said I could use examples from her That's why I am doing that. So, use whatever color you want. Pink, as you know, you've heard her say, represents the heart chakra for quartz things. You can use green, which is also part of the heart. But whatever flower color you want, just use the lotus. And when you breathe in and breathe out deeply, envision one petal at a time opening. And make sure you've already asked one of us to be there and help you, a guide, an angel, or one of the ascended masters, and we'll be present. The right resource will show up. Not all of you need us ascended masters at the same time. Many of you will have your guides with you, especially if you're in the beginning phases. Once your entire lotus flower is opened up and you've envisioned this as your heart will be open to love. This is the first step, and it's essential. You must have your heart fully open to love. You will feel something different. When you feel this, you will feel love come in. It'll be love from all of us. Love from creation. Love from the ascended masters. Love from your ancestors. Love from the divine, angels, your guides. Whatever you prefer as your word, it all comes in. Many of you will weep from the love you will feel. This is good. You are no longer just a microorganism. You are now feeling this type of love. The next part of this is to help you feel empathy. Not I can empathize with. That is irrelevant. I'm talking about empathy, really feeling empathy from another human being. This is essential. When you feel empathy, you can feel someone else's feelings or emotions. This is how you start to wake this up in you. And this is what helps you start to actually change the way you perceive your reality. And you realize you are no longer a microorganism. So, all you have to do is be in a place where there's a lot of people, where your heart is wide open the way it is. And when you're that way, you need to be consciously aware of what your feelings are. This is vital. If you do not know what your own feelings are, then you cannot discern what somebody else's feelings are. And this will not work. So you must always know what you are feeling versus what someone else is feeling. This happened to her the other day. She was somewhere and she all of a sudden became extremely anxious and almost had a panic attack. While she was there, she realized it wasn't her. It was someone else at the place she was located. Because her heart is always open, sending love to people. That's who she is. So, if you are somewhere and all of a sudden you are overwhelmed with anxiety or fear or joy or laughter or sadness, and these are not your feelings, and you are cognitively aware these are not your feelings, then you know you are picking up on the feelings of someone else. That's how you can start to feel empathy from somebody else. That's what an empath feels, and how you can start to feel what an empath feels if you are naturally an empath. And your reality will begin to change. Your life is hard when you are an empath. Now, when that happens, there is a solution for it, and it's really quite simple. You just ask Gaia for help, or you can ask an ascended master or a guide or an angel. But you must be aware of what your feelings are versus this other person's feelings. If you cannot discern, then you don't know if you're anxious or not. These things are very important to know. So don't start playing around with things until you know what your own feelings are. It's much more important to start to live and keep your heart open and feel love first and foremost before you start playing with other things and trying to pick up on other people's emotions, because that opens up a whole nother Pandora's box that many of you are not aware of, nor are you ready for. So we caution you greatly before you do this. Talk to people who are true empaths. Read about it. Be prepared for it. Because it is a huge responsibility and causes lots of difficulty for many people who are empaths. And it is a lot of work, and it is hard. And you must be acutely attuned to your own feelings and emotions at all times. Because if you're not, you will become overwhelmed by emotions, and you will not know which are your emotions anymore or someone else's. So the most important thing first is to just be open to love. Feel the love, and then you close the lotus flower and shut it down. Open the love and feel it, and close the lotus flower. And you can ask for guidance from Source, Ascended Masters, guides, angels. When is the next step for you to take toward feeling empathy with another human being? And they will guide you toward the right person, probably, to take this next step with, rather than just going into a facility, a nail salon, a hair salon, a bar, which I would not recommend, where people are drinking and intoxicated, to then try to feel what someone else is feeling. Because that is a huge burden, and those are burdens many times you do not want to carry if you do not have to carry. You have to use your own discernment first. But I know these are questions you have, and that is why I'm giving them to you, giving you these answers. These are things you must know as you want to know. And if you end up in that situation, put both your feet on the ground immediately and ask Gaia to release you of this anxiety that you are experiencing. Say, I know this is not mine. Take it from me, Mother Gaia. I release it to you and ask you to please transmute this energy into something positive. And you can always ask for positive energy to be given back to the person who is experiencing whatever that anxiety is, or that sadness, or that fear. Send them the positive energy back from Gaia and thank her for helping you. That is my recommendation. Mother Gaia is the one who will transmute the energy, make it better, and then send it back to the person who needs the healing. All she does is remove it from you so you no longer feel it. I am giving this guidance to all of you because I know most of you will not listen. right now, as we strongly advise. When I say we, it's all of us as Ascended Masters are strongly advising you do not go and play right now and see if you can feel what someone else's feelings are. This is a very serious thing. We just want you to open your hearts like a lotus flower, feel love, and close them down. But we know more than 90% of you are going to go play with this now. You are not supposed to do that, and you will not listen to us. Did you not watch what the daily readings were that she gave? Many of you are going to take the wrong path and have to ask for guidance. You'll end up down the wrong path. We will show up. We love you unconditionally, and we will help you. But do not play with this. This is not a game. Everyone is a soul. Everyone is a loving being. Everyone is at a different frequency. So this is not a game to be had or a game to play with. It's okay to learn and grow and try to understand how to change your perception of reality and no longer be a basic, simple Minato, if you will, which we can all understand. You want to grow more, but we really do not want you to play because you are the ones who will get hurt. It's not the other individual who is having anxiety and sitting there quietly. It is you who will suffer because you have now picked up that anxiety and have taken it home with you. You've probably not released it correctly, so you're walking around with anxiety. You may have picked up someone else's fear, someone else's sadness, someone else's excitement and joy, and now you're sitting at home alone on your sofa, very confused because you have no idea which emotion is yours and which emotion is not yours. That's why we caution against doing this. Don't do it until you're ready. You're not ready yet. You'll know when you're ready. We will let you know when you're ready. You first have to know how to open and close your heart like a lotus flower, how to protect yourself, how to open yourself to love unconditionally, to Source, to us, to your guides, to your angels. Those are things you can't even do right now. You're not even capable of. Doing that alone will begin to shift your reality, and you will begin to see things you haven't seen before. That alone will waken up a spiritual gift within you you're not aware of. So we're not saying go and play with empathy this way. We're saying that's one step, usually one of the more simple steps. But for some of you, you have tremendous gifts inside of you, and this will wake up other gifts without needing any work at all. You just need to heed our guidance. Listen, everything we say and do is in your best interest. We all love you unconditionally. We don't want anything to happen to you that could cause harm to you. We're trying to help you see the world from a larger perspective, because many of you are still stuck underneath the microscope. And we need you to see that there's a much bigger world out there. And when we're not using the microscope as an analogy in the terms of you've just never left your state or never left your country. No, the world is way bigger than that. You don't understand it yet because you can't see that it's only a reflection of your own thoughts and how you see things. Everything is connected, and that's what we're trying to show you. Once you can understand how everything is interconnected, beyond just here in this dense world called Earth, That's how you grow. That's how you make the connections. The way she speaks when she says all the religions are connected. She makes the connections. She sees it. You have to be able to see things are connected way beyond your country, your state, your city. How all the souls are connected. Faith is all connected. Creation is connected. Things are connected well beyond this realm and in between realms. Once you can start to understand that, then you understand your reality has completely changed because you have changed, because your soul now is awake. That's why some of you will not understand anything I'm talking about. Some of you will understand some of the things I'm talking about. And some of you will understand everything I'm talking about. It depends where you are within your transformation. All of your souls are on different journeys in terms of their spiritual awakening. But this is part of your spiritual journey to awaken your souls. We don't want your souls to stay asleep during their entire lifetime, because that is sad, to be disconnected from your true soul and think you're only here going through this mundane, boring life when we're all connected together and you have access to everything, which you do. So, we are here to answer all questions you want. If you want more questions answered, I will answer anything you want. I answer them probably a little bit more fast and scientific or boring or dry, maybe, than some of the others. But I'm the one she asked because I know she's connected with me before. So that's why I'm here. You just have to ask for me and I will show up. And I will explain everything in detail for you. And I will talk as long as you want. And I will answer any questions any of you have. Just ask the question and I will answer them. Many of you know me as Saint Germain, so just ask the questions and I will answer everything you want to know. I will never stop answering your questions. I'm here to love you and answer all of your questions. And I could talk all night long, but I don't know all of your questions. I just know many of you are not ready for some of the answers. But I wanted to help some of you who I felt were ready for some pieces of information. I do hope this helps those of you who need it, because we do love you and we just want you happy. That's why we are here. We are here to guide you and help you and love you. Any questions you want, ask, and I will always come back in return and answer every single question you have. You have my promise and my confidence in that matter. I will always be here. This is a soul I will always respond to and will always answer questions for. For she is one that will allow me to do so. And I welcome all of you anytime. I will talk to you soon, and thank you for letting me be here